We're really lucky to have so many great European cities right on our doorstep, just waiting to be rediscovered.
I don't know anywhere else you can get this many different sounds, colours and, of course, smells. Look at that.
And a weekend escape is a brilliant and easy way to explore them.
I am loving this. Feast your eyes on Venice.
So I'm going to have loads of amazing food.
Go on, baby. Sizzle. Sizzle! I may have found the best food in Amsterdam.
See some amazing sights.
Colosseum!
This is the famous Checkpoint Charlie.
Wow. This is stunning.
And check out the culture of each city.
You are the bravest people in Europe, and maybe the craziest.
Guys, I'm inside the fountain. I'm part of the Trevi Fountain.
So I'll be packing lots.
Ooh. Come and have a look at this.
Into my 3-day trips.
Oh, wow. We're up on the roof. There is beer, there is wine, there is sunshine music, and there are lots and lots of smiles.
Showing you how to get the most out of a weekend getaway.
I feel like Audrey Hepburn.
The capital of the state of Bavaria is home to a culture that predates the modern nation of Germany. And the locals here are renowned for being particularly proud of their special traditions, customs, and most of all, food. So I've taken a short plane ride for 3 days away to find out what it means to be Bavarian.
Germany. I love it here. Great food, fun people, and of course, fantastic beer. But I've never been to Munich before, and I'm really excited because many of the things that we consider as German, like lederhosen and beer halls, actually come from here. So what is it about this city, about Munich, that's taken such a hold on our imagination? Well, I can't wait to explore.
You don't need to wander for long in this city to realise that all roads lead to Marienplatz, the square that has been at the heart of the city since it was founded in 1158.
I've only just arrived, but I want to see one of the best-known shows in the city, and it only happens 3 times a day. But before I do that, I think I've just got time to get myself a little local snack. Hello? Could I have 10 pieces, please?
And we have 350.
Thank you. Wow, they're warm. I love chestnuts. Come on.
We might think of them roasting on an open fire in winter, but here you get chestnuts in everything from sausages to beer. There are even chestnut festivals.
That is lovely. I haven't had these since I was a kid. My granddad used to buy them for me. If you haven't had roasted chestnuts, they're sweet, really sweet.
But I'm not just here for the nuts. There's a site in this square that's enchanted visitors for over 100 years.
I've got prime spot because I want to see the famous Glockenspiel go off at the town hall. It's got over 40 bells and over 30 figurines. And it depicts 2 scenes from the 16th century.
First off, a major event from Bavaria's rich history. One of the most decadent and expensive events of the Middle Ages, the Duke of Bavaria's wedding.
That's Duke Wilhelm there, and that's his bride Renata. Now wait for it. You look, jousting knights.
The jousting finale to the wedding took place in this very square and saw a Bavarian knight take on one from nearby Lorraine.
There's the Bavarian knight in blue. Have a look and tell me who you think's going to win.
It's not surprising that the victor is always the Bavarian knight. And the bottom scene is calls for a very different celebration.
They're the beer makers. They're telling everybody that the plague's finished and they want people back out on the streets again. Of course, in Bavarian style, I suppose, to drink more of their beer.
You can't help but immediately be swept up in the strong sense of Bavarian culture here. and I can't wait to discover more of the local way of life. So I'm going to drop off my bag and get exploring.
Sir, hello. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Nice room. Really nice room. If I'm not mistaken, down there is an old beer hall, which is exactly what I've come for.
And there's no time like the present. I've travelled by plane, train and tram to get here, so I've earned the right to sample one of Bavaria's great gifts to the world.
Do you know, I fancy a drink. And if I'm in Bavaria, that can mean only one thing, can't it? That's a beer. But I want a proper, great, big, traditional one. Frothy and foaming at the top, and I want it in a big, old, traditional beer hall.
There are over 200 beer halls and gardens in Munich, some seating up to 8,000 people. It's a culture that was born here. So I'm meeting beer hall manager Toby to learn a bit more about them, and he's organised a treat for me.
That's lovely.
You like it?
I love this.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted. Look at this. This is beautiful.
The origins of this temple to beer date back to 1589, providing food, drink and music, of course.
That is fabulous. This is the music I expected to hear.
You're the heart of, the beer tradition in Munich. The music plays a very big part, and they can even control, in some sense, how the public behaves in some ways. When it's very quiet, when it's very slow, they can bring up the mood, play a little stronger. When it gets too wild, then they play more quiet songs.
But it's not just about crowd control. This music is also a celebration of Bavarian culture. And I've been offered the best seat in the house for a performance of one of the region's most loved traditions. Whip cracking originated in the foothills of the Bavarian Alps nearly 300 years ago. And today there are still many competitions and clubs for whip snappers.
Whoa! Can I try the... Yeah? Really?
It's difficult.
Whoa! Oh, this is frightening me. I think your whip is broken. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll be signing me up. But downstairs, the basement hall is starting to fill up. And I'm ready to get my hands on one of the 10,000 steins of beer they serve daily.
Prost!
Prost. Cheers.
Prost!
That's good. It's cold and it's wet and it tastes great. What makes this place famous?
This was the brewery of the Duke and of the King. It's the Royal Hofbräuhaus in former times.
This was the Royal Brewery?
Yes.
In here?
Yes.
These beer halls are a fantastic thing. I've got a real soft spot for them. What's the culture here?
In the basement of the Hofbräuhaus, you cannot make a reservation. That means if we would come today, sit here, some strangers would probably join us at this table. You would have beer, you would listen to music, you would start a conversation with strangers. You would get to know some people.
It's a social balance.
Yes, yes it is.
This beer hall has its own butchery, bakery, confectionery, and of course, its own brewery.
Can you try to explain to me what beer means to the people of Bavaria, to the people of Munich?
Beer stands for a whole kind of living culture. Music, being together, talking together, having a good time together.
3,500 revellers can fit into this beer hall, but not many of them get given the opportunity to join the staff and serve up a stein.
Our waitresses carry about 12 mugs. Our waiters carry up to 18 mugs. Let's start with 10.
That's 10. I can't get my hand in all of those. Oh, your thumb. Whoa!
Good.
Whoa, mate! Whoa, and then you've got to get 5 in the other hand.
That's good.
Ah!
Yes.
Yeah. We got beer. Did you order 10 beers?
Ist das Ihr Schlüssel, den ich hatte?
Here, have some beer. Have some beer. Did I do okay? Yes.
Coming up,
This is fascinating. Look at this.
I get stuck into Bavaria's most famous sausage. And I go eye to eye with a medieval saint.
It's quite a sight, isn't it?
In the German city of Munich, I'm spending 3 days finding out what gives the capital of the state of Bavaria such a distinct identity. To start the day, I'm keeping things traditional by ordering the most famous of Bavaria's sausages, plus the classic breakfast accompaniments. And before you say anything, yes,
Danke.
that is another beer.
So what I have here is an actual traditional Bavarian breakfast. Look at that, look. That is a lovely, fresh-smelling pretzel, a pot of sweet mustard, and this here, this is fascinating. Look at this. Swimming in hot water is a boiled white Bavarian sausage. You don't eat the skin of these. You cut it open and get the meat out from inside. It tastes like a pork sausage. It's saltier, but its texture is like a saveloy that you get in the fish and chip shop. It's bouncy. I think we should all give it a go. Get with the Munich vibe.
The city is certainly full of much-loved traditions, and this morning I want to learn more about where that comes from by delving into Munich's past.
This seems to me to be a city with a really strong identity. And actually, when I think about German history, I don't really know a great deal before the 20th century. So I've got myself a guide to help me get to grips with it.
Hi.
Simone?
Yes.
Greg.
Nice to meet you, Greg.
Listen, I'm ready for a history tour. Why are we starting here?
Well, because Munich was founded in the Middle Ages and there aren't that many remnants left except for this impressive gate.
That's a big gate. I mean, this must have been a seriously important medieval city.
Absolutely. Munich also was and still is the capital of Bavaria, and Bavaria is actually older than Germany itself.
Bavaria is a medieval historic state inside a modern state of Germany. Is it different to the rest of Germany?
Definitely, Bavarians have a rather distinct dialect, the way that people dress, what food they eat and drink, and I think that also shapes people.
Can you show me some more?
Yes, certainly. I'd love to show you a few more spaces that really make Bavaria distinct from other places here.
Sure, come on.
And right in the heart of the city is the former palace of Bavaria's very own royal family.
This is very grand.
It was one of the oldest royal families, the Wittelsbacher, that ruled all the way from 1180 until 1918.
They ruled here for nearly 1,000 years. Do you still have a royal family?
So we do not have royals run the country, but nonetheless, they are still there.
Do the people of Bavaria still admire their royal family?
My grandmother was really fond of the last real king, King Ludwig II, and she always dreamt herself into the good old days when our dear King Ludwig still was around.
The Bavarian royals and their subjects were also devout Catholics and remained so during the Reformation, when the rest of Germany turned solidly Protestant. So Simone has brought me to St. Peter's, the oldest church in the city, with roots stretching back to the 12th century, when it was built on the site of a Benedictine monastery.
Why did you want to show me this church particularly?
It's the reason why Munich is called Munich. The market that was established here was then called the market next to the monks, Forum apud Munichem. And Munich actually is an abbreviation of the Latin word for monks.
So Munich is named after the monks? That's great.
St. Peter's has a reputation as one of the finest churches in Munich, so I can't leave this part of the city without checking it out.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's stunning. The long history of this church is the reason it looks so very different to many other churches, because it changed its style over the years. You've got Gothic in many of the paintings. You've got Baroque here, Grand Baroque in the altarpiece. And if you look up, you've got the white and you've got the scrolls of Rococo. It makes for a very fascinating and, I think, very beautiful mix.
The stunning artworks might be what draws people in, but hidden away in a side altar is a famous relic brought from Rome in 1675 that is equally breathtaking.
This glass sarcophagus holds the remains of Saint Munditia. You can see now she's bedecked in jewels. Well, they put the jewels on there to commemorate her. That's certainly not how she lived.
The patron saint of spinsters, she's believed to have been martyred nearly 2,000 years ago, beheaded by a hatchet.
The Catholic Church in Rome sent her body here from the catacombs in Rome, and it was to remind the faithful of the motto, Memento Mori, remember you are mortal. It's quite a sight, isn't it?
Coming up, I meet Bavarian baking royalty.
You were born in a bakery.
And, whoa, I'm in the presence of the King's classic car.
This was owned by Elvis.
Yes.
It's Saturday on my 3-day break in Munich, a city that is fiercely proud of its traditions, culture, and most of all, food. At the weekend, the aroma of fresh baking fills the city streets, which has put me in the mood for a little 11s.
Yeah. Nice shot.
So, I'm ordering some Bavarian baked classics.
Well, that's a bit of a feast, isn't it? And what I've done here is I've chosen 3 iconic bakery items of Bavaria. Now, this is a baked cheesecake, but it's much lighter than the one we normally have because this is made with quark. And quark is soured milk heated till it curdles and then strained. And it's flavoured with something that we don't see a great deal that is very popular in Central and Eastern Europe, and that's poppy seeds. So let's get in there. It's nutty, but light. Now this thing here, look at that. Look at that for a big wedge of it. Look, that is fruit bread, and there are literally scores of those all over Germany. The most famous one you probably know or may know is a Christmas Stollen bread. This is quite dense and it's heavy like a bread and butter pudding, but this is stacked, not just full of nuts, but dried fruit as well. There's dates in there, there's dried apricots and cherries. That's a really deep flavour. It's rich. And it's deep like a glass of red wine.
But there is one baked good that steals the show in Bavaria, the world-famous pretzel. And this place churns out hundreds every day. So I'm not just going to eat one.
You open the door.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to learn how to make them with head baker Lou.
Ready, boss?
Ready, steady, go. Yes, open it.
That's
yes,
hot.
you can.
It's hot. Whoa. How long?
And now we start 12 minutes.
Baking really is in Lou's DNA.
How many years have you been a baker?
I'm born in a bakery in the countryside in a little village.
You were born in a bakery.
My parents are working in the bakery, and there was a little bed in the bakery, and there I slept the rest of the night.
You slept in the bakery?
Yes.
Lou is infinitely qualified to give me a crash course before these pretzels are baked.
We have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The dough mix is actually quite simple. Wheat flour, water, salt and malt to feed the yeast.
I have to form it.
Wow.
There's 60 pretzels in the making here. The dough is mechanically divided into pretzel-sized portions before Lou shapes each one by hand.
We do the pretzels. So put it here and make it this way. Look here. Look first time. So and so. So and it's ready, okay?
No.
So, look here. Put my part. And now. So. No. Yes, hey, great.
Now what?
And now you have to put it here. Zack.
Like this?
Like this.
To say that pretzels are ingrained in German life is an understatement.
Ah.
There's even a special one for weddings that the bride and groom divide.
Wow.
After it's baked, obviously.
And they
pull it apart.
put it apart, and which one gets the bigger part is the chief of the marriage.
After resting, they are dunked in something very unusual, a caustic solution called lye, which is traditionally used to make soap, but gives pretzels their crunchy outside.
It's really strong chemical. If you drink it, you'll surely be dead.
Thankfully, baking makes the lye harmless, and after a quick salting, the pretzels are ready to be fired up, just in time to get out the ones we put in earlier.
Yeah.
Pretzels are ready.
Come on. That's beautiful. You are a clever man.
Very good.
Do you know why I think they're so special? Because nothing really has that crunch, that saltiness and fluffy inside.
I reckon I could be cut out to be a Bavarian baker. And Lou certainly seems to want me to hang around.
We try. Which one of us will be the chief when we are married? No, we are. Hey, we are maybe.
We are partners.
Yeah, we are partners.
Equal partners.
Bavarians are definitely proud of their strong heritage and food culture. But, as with everywhere in Germany, there is a dark part to their past. And here in Munich, it's darker than most, as this was the birthplace of the Nazi Party. And this afternoon, I want to find out how this local group of extremists rose to power in a Western democracy. So I've met up with local guide Alan Evans in Odeonsplatz.
Is there a reason why we're meeting here?
When the Nazis were around in the early 1920s, something very, very significant happened around this location where we are right now. The beer hall putsch, which took place on November the 9th, 1923, was a failed coup by the Nazis.
Tell me about this.
2,000 Nazis left from a beer hall called the Bürgerbräu Keller, armed, probably fueled with alcohol as well, marched into the centre of the city with the goal of taking power by force.
Is Hitler leading this?
He is. He's right at the front of this procession of Nazis that's coming into the city.
Wow. What happens?
They arrive right where we are now on the Odeonsplatz. The Bavarian police have been tipped off, and the Bavarian police are right where we are now on this square. There's a gun battle between the Nazis and the Bavarian police. 16 Nazis are killed.
Those killed in the failed coup became martyrs to Hitler's cause, and for the Nazis, this square was a shrine to their memory.
So this is the side of the Feldherrnhalle, which we just saw the front of. This is where the 16 Nazis were shot and killed. And when the Nazis came to power, they erected a tablet on top of the wall here with a swastika and the names of the fallen Nazis. And it was seen as being the duty of the local civilian population that as they were walking past this location, they had to give the Hitler salute.
To avoid saluting, some people showed their resistance to the Nazis by using a side passage as a detour. The route taken is marked in bronze as a tribute to them.
If you were caught doing it, there would be consequences for you. So it's not unlikely that they would have been arrested
For not saluting?
for not giving the salute. It was seen as being a form of disrespect. You've got the people who made this very passive form of resistance, if you like. The bronze memorial that you can see in the alleyway here is in memory of those people.
I suppose for modern Germany, it's important to remember that not everybody was a Nazi or a Nazi sympathiser. Just couldn't have been.
It's not talked about a great deal, but there was resistance here from the German people, but they were dealt with very, very quickly. And the first prisoners that went to the concentration camps were Germans. They were German political prisoners.
With the Nazis in power, the tragic march towards World War II was underway. And again, Munich was central to the story. In particular, at the final building Alan wants to show me.
What's this?
This, Greg, is the Führerbau, or the leader's building.
Ah.
So this was Hitler's main building in the city of Munich. That's where he received Neville Chamberlain, and Benito Mussolini in 1938 for the Munich Agreement.
Signed there?
Signed in this building.
The Munich Agreement is famous, like, you know, guaranteeing peace in our time. But what was the deal?
Well, the deal was that Britain and France conceded the Sudetenland, which was an ethnic German area around the old Czechoslovakia with a population of about 3 million people. Because of the German ethnicity and the German language that was prevalent in the Sudetenland, Adolf Hitler claimed that it should be Germany's. What happened was Britain and France said, OK, what we'll do is we'll concede the Sudetenland to you as long as that's as far as you go.
And do you think once he got Czechoslovakia, he thought, oh, I don't want this, I might as well have a war?
I think Adolf Hitler knew all along that he was going to go further than that. But unfortunately, he duped Chamberlain and Daladier into going with the deal.
Germany was left devastated after World War II. It was estimated that 70% of housing was destroyed and Munich was in ruins. But remarkably, 5 years later, West Germany was booming. Helping the country bounce back was one of Munich's major players, the Bavarian Motor Works, or BMW to you and me.
Whoa.
Good morning.
What a place.
You can take tours of their factory, but this afternoon I've got exclusive access to their classic car section to understand how their early vehicles helped to get the country's economy back on track.
This company was born here in Munich.
Yes, this is actually the very first site.
How important is it to Bavaria?
It is quite important. It is one of the, one of the bigger industries. It was actually a big manufacturer for aeroplane engines. There were a couple of wars, and then German industry wasn't allowed to build anything that could be used for war. So that's why in between they settled over to motorcycles, because they were good at building engines.
How important do you think German engineering is to the economy? It's massive, right?
Oh yeah, always has been.
Where does it come from, do you think?
The Germans like it very precise. I guess that's why we have so many good engineers.
And those engineers are hard at work here, preserving the classic models that did their bit to get post-war Germany back on its feet.
Wow, it's an Aladdin's cave of beautiful cars.
From racing cars to concept cars, this place is a petrol head's paradise. But Christoph is keen for me to see the one that he believes saved the company's finances back in the 1950s. I'm not sure it's the one I would have chosen, though.
This is part of BMW's success, this thing.
Yeah.
It's very small, it's very different.
It is. This is what made the company successful. They sold many, many, many of these.
Why do you think?
Well, A, it was affordable. B, it had space for 2 people and luggage.
Can I sit in there?
Sure.
Shut the door, could you?
Sure.
Oh, the steering wheel and everything comes down with it. It's very, very basic.
Yeah, it's basic.
This car's impact was massive. It even kick-started a small car revolution in Britain with the arrival of our Mini. Mind you, Mini is now owned by these guys.
Whoa! What is this beauty? Woo! Oh, this is beautiful.
It's not just a 507, it's Elvis Presley's 507.
This was owned by Elvis?
Yes.
You are kidding me.
No.
I love this.
Oh.
I'm a big Elvis man.
Well, there you go. That's his car.
Thank you, ma'am.
Normally, these pieces of history are for display purposes only, but Christoph has snuck one out and offered to take me for a spin.
So, what is this car?
So this is a 1961 3200 CS, it's called, and it's the only convertible of its kind. So this is a one-off car.
This piece of Bavarian engineering was especially made for the owner of the company 61 years ago. And a lot has changed in Munich in those years.
Do you think the car still recognises the city?
Well, yeah, much more than the city maybe recognizes the car.
That was great. How do I get out the door?
I'll open the door first.
Right. Man, that was wonderful.
I hope you liked it.
I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Nothing works up an appetite like a chauffeur-driven ride in a classic convertible. And as the sun sets on my last night in Munich, I've got my heart set on some good old-fashioned food.
I've arranged to meet someone for dinner and I'm pretty excited because I love Bavarian food. It is proper big and it's hearty, and I'll probably have a big beer as well. I mean, look.
This 200-year-old restaurant is famous for delivering only the Bavarian classics.
Prost. Prost.
And I'm going to let my host Patrick do the ordering.
We should have the local specialty, which is the pork knuckle.
What part of the pig is the knuckle?
You have the leg, and then you have half of the leg.
Half a pig leg?
Yes. Then we will have some spicy sausages on a nice bed of sauerkraut. Then we will have the Leberkäse.
The what?
The Leberkäse. It's pork as well.
Right. Are we going to eat anything that isn't part of a pig?
This is Bavaria. It's not so easy, actually.
They certainly love their pork here, and I'm getting a true Bavarian meat feast.
Wow. I've never seen anything like it.
Starring the speciality of the house.
So this is our pork knuckle?
This is the pork knuckle. So this is the national dish of Bavaria. You know, it's pork, roasted pork, with dumplings, with the gravy. If you go to any kind of restaurant, a Bavarian restaurant, and they do this wrong, they mess it up, they will lose customers.
Look at that beauty. Oh, look at that absolute beauty.
The skin is important, you know, it must be crunchy.
That pork knuckle is superb.
Well,
it's fantastic. Guys, you know this. This is a really, really good roast pork. You've got lovely soft meat in the middle, and you've got proper crackling. Listen to this. Yeah, this is good.
So this is a potato dumpling.
That's really quite unusual. It's almost like you're eating a really, really thick custard out of a custard tart. It's savoury. Your sauce is a rich gravy. That's really lovely. That's got depth. This big food, this hearty food, does it say something about the people?
Sure, yeah. I would say it shows how important traditions are in Bavaria. You know, especially other parts of Germany, they say we are stubborn and we do our own thing, which we do. I guess we never really felt the needs to change our cookery.
This is great old-fashioned home cooking at its best. It's decent and it's good. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's my final day in the Bavarian capital of Munich, a city where tradition is never too far from the surface. It's exported a lot of its famous food and culture to the world, but this morning I'm on the hunt for maybe its most famous creation.
Now, if I asked you to imagine a typically German scene, might it be Germans with lederhosen drinking from enormous glasses of beer? And when we think of lederhosen, for us it's got comedy value, hasn't it? It's something we would wear on a stag do or for a beer festival. But actually, I know for a fact here, they take lederhosen very, very seriously. hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Lederhosen. Tell me, is it unique to this area, but to Bavaria?
Yes, of course, it's very unique. Every boy or man in Bavaria is wearing lederhosen. It's our tradition.
Are they proud of it? Do they?
Yes. You know, it's the best thing to wear. And if you are 18, you buy your first pair of lederhosen.
What is the history? Nobody else has these things.
You know, it comes from the farmers are wearing it for the work because it is very stable. And, and it was not you go into the church with something like this on a Sunday, you just put it on for work.
Right.
But later on, it becomes to be a tradition.
They fell out of vogue and were in danger of vanishing in the 1880s. But die-hard traditionalists refused to let go of them. And today they are seen as a youngster's rite of passage.
So what is it made from?
You know, we have two different kinds of lederhosen. We have a goat one and we have a deer one. And the goat one is a little bit more softer and the deer one is a little bit more stronger. And maybe if you want to try something, I can show you.
Is that okay? I'd love to try.
Yeah, come
I would
on.
love to try. Wait till my wife sees me in this.
You know, this is a deer one.
Ooh. Oh.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
What do you reckon? I love this.
I love this too.
I love this. Look at this.
You look great. You look like a real Bavarian.
Great.
Yeah.
A set of premium lederhosen can cost anything up to £2,000. But you do get lederhosen for life when you spend that kind of cash.
Do you get angry with British people wearing silly lederhosen like?
No, I'm laughing. It's like a compliment because they try to be like us.
I'll tell you, honestly, I feel really good in this.
Yeah, and you look very good.
I feel really. It's smart, but it's comfortable. It just feels right.
Just as I'm getting comfortable, my time here is starting to run out. So it's back into my civvies for one last meal. But the local chef I'm meeting has sent me a shopping list to pick up from the oldest market in the city, Victor Mart.
Look at that. Wow.
In amongst the 140 stalls is one selling a vast array of mushrooms. There are 5,000 species in Germany. Not surprising, considering that a third of the country is forest.
Could I have 100 gram?
100, yes.
Please. You call them Pfifferling?
Yes.
And many are considered delicacies.
200 grams of these. Small ones, please. Please. Thank you.
With the shopping done, I'm meeting chef Holger Lang to learn how to make Bavaria's very own take on the classic schnitzel.
Chef, mushrooms.
Oh, nice.
All right, I'm here to help.
Okay, you cook the mushroom sauce.
Me?
Yes.
You know that I'm not a chef, right?
We will see.
While I make the sauce, Holger is prepping the star of the show. Born in the palaces of Vienna, Austria's Wiener Schnitzel is probably the most famous breaded cutlet in the world. But the Bavarians have their own twist on this classic, named after their capital.
The Vienna style is veal, then you put it in flour, egg and breadcrumbs. The Munich style is veal with a paste of mustard, horseradish and sweet mustard, then flour, egg and breadcrumbs.
Pretzel crumb.
Pretzel crumbs.
Pretzel crumb.
Yes.
That's a fantastic thing.
Yes.
I think I really want to taste yours. Wow.
Schnitzel dates back to 1831. It started as a clever way of turning old bread into a crumb coating for meat.
I think this is possibly one of the world's great dishes. I mean, who doesn't love a breaded fried cutlet?
But in Munich, they use pretzels, of course.
Hey, I've never seen it puff up like that. Can you test my sauce? Tell me what you think.
Brilliant.
You have no idea how happy that makes me.
Chef serving a Munich meal of double schnitzel Bavarian style, with potato salad, cranberries, and mushroom sauce, of course.
Why in the bowl?
You must taste it only
On its
without
own.
this.
I agree. Beautiful. Beautiful. Very light. Mmm. Mmm. That mustard and the horseradish works like an absolute treat. What it does is it slightly sweetens the heat of the horseradish. That is perfect. Soft meat, crispy coating, and the very Bavarian sweet mustard with horseradish. I love that. I can start working in the kitchen on Monday?
Please.
You think?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there will be no Monday in Munich for me. My time in this most fascinating of cities, part German, totally Bavarian, is nearly at an end. But before I head home, I've got one more landmark to check out.
Welcome to the Olympic Tower.
And it's the tallest in Munich.
Whoa. Whoa. It goes even higher. Whoa.
Work on the Olympic Tower began in 1965 to boost TV and radio reception, but it found its true identity when Munich hosted the 1972 Olympic Games.
Get this. Oh, that is really high. You know why it's so impressive? Because there's hardly any tall buildings. And look, mountain range, that's the Alps. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. There can't be many cities in the world where the people have such a strong sense of their own identity as they do here in Munich. And you don't need to go to a museum to see Bavarian culture. It's out there on the streets. The people do wear lederhosen and they do go into their beer halls, drink their local beer and listen to traditional music. And they do eat a lot of pork. The Bavarians are rightly proud of their traditions, but I've got a feeling for them it's not something that happened in the past. It's alive and well. It's what they do every day, every week. And as a tourist, when you immerse yourself in such a strong culture, well, that is a recipe for a great weekend away.
From Brighton to Blackpool, get some holiday inspiration as Susan Kalman embarks on a grand week by the sea starting Monday at 8 and all next week. From national fame to dying a pauper, Andrew Marr reveals the gripping story behind Rembrandt's most famous work